Today, we're going to make a little old Ohio Italian favorite. So we have here, I have already defrosted it, but right here is that deer mild Italian sausage. Once you defrost a pack of good about 5 or 6, you are then going to cut down the side of the sausages, empty out the contents for the red sauce, and then for about 1.5 to 2 sausages, you're going to cut them up into little pieces. So after you have cut up 2 of the 6 Italian mild deer sausages, and we're using a blend here with a little bit of pork fat and deer and then a pork casing, you're going to have 1 bowl, I would say about a pound or so of actual mincemeat, and then about another 0.6, a little over a half pound of actual cut up sausage. Next, you're going to need the little bit of tips of celery, and then I have some frozen celery. I find this cooks up not bad, and then it stays longer a little bit. It's just my preference, so it doesn't matter. And then you're also going to use some tomato sauce can. That's going to be mixed in with the ground meat. You're going to need half an onion. Yellow onion works the best. And then you're also going to need about a carrot. If it's a smaller carrot, probably a carrot and a half. And then you're also going to need a little bit of minced garlic. I'm running out here, so it's a little bit liquidy, which is actually perfect for what we're trying to do to make this nice red sauce. Now that we have reached a boil, we're going to use whatever amount of spaghetti you feel like. Personally, there was only about, I would want to say, 1/3 of a box. So you stick it on the side, and it's going to boil down really nice, and then we're going to start stirring it in. Now that the pasta is getting a little bit softer, you're going to want to start twirling it in just ever so slightly. Now here's for the real secret. This is homemade bacon fat. Take about a teaspoon of it to start to cook down your vegetables. Once you've chopped your vegetables, I'll show you how to do that in a second. Once you have assembled your celery sprongs, your medium-sized carrot, and a half onion, you're going to start chopping. The easiest way to do this is chop it in size pieces. I actually like to use this. It saves a lot of time. It just makes it a lot easier. So you're going to chop your onion into the size sections that fit into your chopping block, and just go from there. Do the same with all of your vegetables. Doesn't really matter. It's all getting down to the same size. Your ratio should look just about that. A little bit of orange, a lot of white, a lot of green. You're then going to cook that down in the bacon grease along with the garlic and the mixture of the already ground up deer sausage. So I always put in the deer sausage first. The skillet's already hot with bacon grease, so that's going to get going. Then we're going to mix in the vegetables after that's nice and brown. Well, that's browning down and your pasta is finally al dente. Take about a half cup of the pasta water. Save that for the sauce. You're now going to want to drain that pasta water. Once you remove the pasta from the pot, you're going to put in your actual chunked up sausage with a little bit of bacon grease as that's cooking down. Once this has started to brown down, you're going to mix in 2 teaspoons of garlic. You are now going to want to assemble your spices. I'm using sea salt, garlic, paprika, onion powder, oregano, parsley. I also like to add some crushed red pepper and also black pepper. You're going to mix that in to your sausage mix along with your red sauce when you're ready. You're going to want to take out those sausage pieces when they're about this crispy and a little bit brown, but still a little bit that they can cook some more. Now add your vegetables to mix in those little cracklings and a little bit of bacon fat at the end. Put your vegetables right into there. Once you add in your half cup of pasta water, also add in an entire another jar of tomato sauce. I like to use 1.5 jars of tomato sauce to a pound of ground sausage to a half cup of pasta water mix. For my spice mixture, I've done this ratio. Then add in your crushed red pepper and parsley to your tasting. Everyone is different on this. Now take your cut sausage pieces and vegetables and add it into your sauce. This is a very similar version of what my nonni from Northern Italy made, but I'm going to add only this as a difference, plus some different spices. I always add a half cup of heavy whipping cream. Once it gets to this color, you're going to add back in your pasta. Once your spaghetti and your sauce are mixed together, I always add a little bit of Parmesan grated cheese. This is another step you can skip, but this is always what my nonni did. It's to your likings, so I always do about 2 tablespoons. Just plate it, top it with a little bit of parsley, a little bit of Parmesan. Serve with a side of homemade garlic bread. There you have it. Italian deer sausage spaghetti in a pink red sauce. Thank y'all for tuning in with Cowboy Co's very first Cooking with Cowboy episode. It's great having y'all. Don't forget, enjoy the homemade food. So much better than eating out, especially when you shoot it yourself. This is the deer from last season, so more to come on that. Stay tuned for the next episode, y'all.